Welcome to Dissonant Voices, a Mythos Busters production. Check the video description for entry timestamps, and hit pause when you hear the extra special campaign-specific sound effect. Thanks to all of our fans who make our content possible. The characters, setting, narrative, and all other elements of Arkham Horror the card game presented here are copyrighted and trademarked by Fantasy Flight Games. This is a fan-made reading created solely for non-commercial use, and it is not intended to infringe on any of Fantasy Flight Games' intellectual property in any way. On this episode...
The Night of the Zealot. The Ghouls Hunger. Friday, September 18th, 1925. Arkham, Massachusetts. It's the end of a long and abnormally hot summer. The first hints of autumn beckon, but a heavy heat persists, relentless. A silent, unspoken anger grips the town. Tempers are short. In the last week alone, there has been numerous reports of townspeople coming to heated, violent blows with one another over simple misunderstandings. And now, a call from James Hankerson. He claims to have found a dismembered body in his barn. Blaming the weather would be too easy. There's something wrong with this town, and not a whole lot this old soothsayer can do to stop the slide. My auguries indicate a small group of investigators will soon take note of these strange happenings, and set forth to make things right. I'll be watching their progress, but I won't be holding my breath. Part 1. The Gathering. You and your partners have been investigating strange events taking place in your home city of Arkham, Massachusetts. Over the past few weeks, several townspeople have mysteriously gone missing. Recently, their corpses turned up in the woods, savaged and half-eaten. The police and newspapers have stated that wild animals are responsible, but you believe there is something else going on. You are gathered together at the lead investigator's home to discuss these bizarre events. If no resolution was reached, each investigator resigned or was defeated. You barely managed to escape your house with your lives. The woman from your parlor follows you out the front door, slamming it behind her.
You fools! See what you've done?
She pushes a chair in front of the door, lodging it beneath the doorknob.
We must get out of here. Come with me and I will tell you what I know. We are the only ones who can stop the threat that lurks beneath from being unleashed throughout the city.
You're in no state to argue. Nodding, you follow the woman as she runs from your front porch out into the rainy streets towards Rivertown. In your campaign log, record that your house is still standing. In your campaign log, record that the Ghoul Priest is still alive. The lead investigator earns the Lead a Chantler card and may include it in their deck. This card does not count towards that investigator's deck size. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the Victory display. Remember to add eligible locations to the Victory display. Each investigator earns 2 bonus experience as they gain insight into the hidden world of the mythos. Resolution 1. You nod and allow the red-haired woman to set the walls and floor of your house ablaze. The fire spreads quickly, and you run out the front door to avoid being caught in the inferno. From the sidewalk, you watch as everything you own is consumed by the flames.
Come with me,
the woman says.
You must be told of the threat that lurks below. Alone, we are surely doomed, but together we can stop it.
In your campaign log, record that your house has burned to the ground. The lead investigator earns the Lead a Chantler card and may include it in their deck. This card does not count towards that investigator's deck size. The lead investigator suffers 1 mental trauma for watching their home become a smoldering ruin. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the Victory display. Remember to add eligible locations to the Victory display. Each investigator earns 2 bonus experience as they gain insight into the hidden world of the mythos. Resolution 2. You refuse to follow the overzealous woman's order and kick her out of your home for fear that she will set it ablaze without your permission.
Fools! You are making a grave mistake.
She warns.
You do not understand the threat that lurks below, the grave danger we are all in.
Still shaken by the night's events, you decide to hear the woman out. Perhaps she can shed some light on these bizarre events, but she doesn't seem to trust you very much. In your campaign log, record that your house is still standing. The lead investigator earns 1 experience as they refuse to let the night's events destroy their life. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the Victory display. Remember to add eligible locations to the Victory display. Each investigator earns 2 bonus experience as they gain insight into the hidden world of the mythos. Resolution 3. You run to the hallway to try and find a way to escape the house, but the burning hot barrier still blocks your path. Trapped, the horde of feral creatures that have invaded your home close in, and you have nowhere to run. In your campaign log, record that Lita was forced to find others to help her cause. In your campaign log, record that your house is still standing. In your campaign log, record that the ghoul priest is still alive. Each investigator who is not resigned is killed. If there are not enough investigators to continue the campaign is over and the players lose. Otherwise, advance to the next scenario. Each player whose investigator has been killed must choose a new investigator from the pool of available investigators. Refer to page 13 of the rules reference for the full rules on killed investigators. If the lead investigator was killed, choose an investigator to earn the Lita Chantler card. That investigator may include this card in their deck. It does not count towards that investigator's deck size. Part 2. The Midnight Masks. Check the campaign log. If Lita was forced to find others to help her cause, read Intro 1. Otherwise, skip to Intro 2. Intro 1. The woman came to you in a panic, raving about monsters emerging from the ground in a home near Rivertown.
I managed to trap them,
She explains.
but there are others, other pits, other domains.
Only last week, you would have thought she was a lunatic. Recent events, however, have challenged your preconceptions of normality. You decide to hear her out. She introduces herself as Lita Chantler and lays out a tale that strains the limits of your belief.
The creatures I speak of are called ghouls, cruel beings who plague the crypts, caverns, and tunnels beneath the city of Arkham.
Continue to Intro 3. Intro 2. In the wake of the disaster at your home, Lita Chantler, the red-haired woman from your parlor, lays out a tale that, even in light of what you have just witnessed, strains the limits of your belief.
The creatures in your home
She claims.
are called ghouls, cruel beings who plague the crypts, caverns, and tunnels beneath the city of Arkham.
Continue to Intro 3. Intro 3.
These creatures feed on the corpses of humans, and they are served by a dark cult within Arkham whose members have inexplicably come to worship the ancient master of the ghouls. This cult has been killing innocent people and feeding them to the ghouls, satiating a monstrous hunger. A dark balance was maintained. Until now. Recently, one of their lairs, where the corpses are stored, was destroyed. Since then, the ghouls have been more active than usual. I've tracked their movements and tried my best to stop them from running amok throughout the city, but I think there's something worse going on. The cult has been planning something darker and more ominous than anything I've yet observed. Indications are that this plan shall come to fruition tonight, shortly after midnight. Beyond that, I cannot fathom what to expect. Many of the cultists will seem like everyday people, despite their foul intentions. Whenever the cult meets, its members don masks shaped like the skulls of various animals to protect their identities from one another. These masks are our mark. Symbols of death and decay, we must unmask the cultists to expose and derail their plans. We have but a few hours. The more cultists we find before midnight, the better.
Continue to set up. If no resolution was reached, each investigator resigned or was defeated. Read Resolution 1. Resolution 1. You've managed to obtain some useful information about the cult and its plans. You can only hope it's enough. In your campaign log, under Cultists We Interrogated, record the names of each unique cultist enemy in the victory display. In your campaign log, under Cultists Who Got Away, record the name of each unique enemy still remaining in the cultist deck or in play. If it is Agenda 1, record the Masked Hunter here as well. If the Ghoul Priest is in the victory display, cross out the Ghoul Priest is still alive in your campaign log. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the victory display. Resolution 2. 12 bells ring out, signaling midnight. You're out of time. The cultist ritual will begin shortly. You've managed to obtain some useful information about the cult and its plans. You can only hope it's enough. In your campaign log, under Cultists We Interrogated, record the names of each unique cultist enemy in the victory display. In your campaign log, under Cultists Who Got Away, record the name of each unique enemy still remaining in the cultist deck or in play. In your campaign log, record that it is past midnight. If the Ghoul Priest is in the victory display, cross out the Ghoul Priest is still alive in your campaign log. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the victory display. Part 3. The Devourer below. After a frantic nighttime search through Arkham, you've tracked down and questioned several members of the cult. Your findings are disturbing. They claim to worship a being known as Umordoth, a monstrous entity from another realm. You are able to confirm much of Lita's story. The cult is agitated over the destruction of the Ghoul Lair. However, a surprising detail also turns up. The one who invaded the lair and set this night's events into motion was none other than Lita Chandler herself. You're not sure why this important detail was omitted from Lita's story. Did she tell you only as much as was necessary to draw you into her conflict? But in another light, she seems to be fighting to protect the city of Arkham from a terrible menace. The final pieces of the puzzle were found written in a journal possessed by one of the cultists. It describes a dark ritual to be performed deep within the woods south of Arkham this very night. According to the journal, the ritual's completion will open a gate and bring forth the cult's dark master into this world.
If the cult is not stopped, there's a possibility that Umordoth's vengeance will consume all in its path.
Frightened but determined to stop the ritual, you head into the woods. If no resolution was reached, each investigator resigned or was defeated. Too frightened to face her fate, Lita flees into the night. She realizes that she has failed and Umordoth's vengeance will pursue her wherever she goes. The creature's tendrils spread throughout the city of Arkham, searching for her. It lurks in the darkness of every corner, tugging at the seams of reality. But Lita is nowhere to be found, so the creature dwells in the shadows to this day, searching, killing. In your campaign log, record that Arkham succumbed to Umordoth's terrible vengeance. Each surviving investigator is killed. The investigators lose. Resolution 1. You have managed to prevent the cult from summoning its master. Although you're unsure what would have happened had the cult succeeded, you're relieved that, at least for the time being, Arkham is safe. You capture as many cultists as you can find, but very few townspeople believe your tale. Perhaps it was all in your head after all. In your campaign log, record that the ritual to summon Umordoth was broken. Each investigator suffers 2 mental trauma as they never fully recover from their ordeal. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the victory display. Each investigator earns 5 bonus experience as they have saved Arkham from a terrible fate. The investigators win. Resolution 2. Through force of arms and strength of will, you are somehow able to harm Umordoth enough to send it reeling back to the dimension from which it emerged. Warmth and light return to the woods as the void-like mass is sucked in upon itself, vanishing in an instant. You aren't sure if a being such as this can be killed, but for the time being it seems to have retreated. As their master vanishes, the ghouls nearby climb into the open pit below, fleeing with terrible cries and shrieks. You've stopped an evil plot, but the fight has taken its toll on your body and mind. Worse, you can't help but feel insignificant in the face of the world's mysteries. What other terrors exist in the deep, dark corners of reality? In your campaign log, record that the investigators repelled Umordoth. Each investigator suffers 2 physical trauma and 2 mental trauma as the fight against Umordoth has taken its toll on their body and mind. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the victory display. Each investigator earns 10 bonus experience as they have triumphed in battle against a truly terrible foe. The investigators win. Resolution 3. In the face of this horror, you don't believe there is anything you can do to stop it. You have but one hope if you are to survive. You turn on Lita and throw her at the terrible monstrosity, watching in dread as its swirling void-like mass consumes her. She cries out in torment as the life is sucked from her body.
Umordoth! Umordoth!
The cultists chant. Lita Chandler vanishes without a trace. For a moment, you fear that the creatures will now turn on you, but you hear one of the cultists say,
Umordoth is a just god who claims only the guilty and the dead. Go, and you shall be spared.
The swirling mass vanishes, and warmth and light return to the woods. The cultists slink away, leaving you alive. Lita's last moments are forever etched upon your memory. In your campaign log, record that the investigators sacrificed Lita Chandler to Umordoth. Each investigator suffers 2 physical trauma and 2 mental trauma as the mere sight of Umordoth has taken its toll on their body and mind. The guilt over sacrificing Lita forever haunts your memory. Each investigator must search the collection for a random madness weakness and add it to their deck. Each investigator earns experience equal to the Victory X value of each card in the victory display. The investigators have survived, but their actions weigh heavily on their conscience.